feedback. If I'm the listener and I'm not listening, then I'm not going to be able to provide any type of feedback. And if I'm the speaker and I'm not listening to the feedback, then I won't be able to improve my speaking. Some of the barriers to active listening include anticipation, judgment, reacting emotionally, and then personal and internal distractions. So anticipation is when we think we already know what the speaker is going to say, so we just don't listen. Like, let's say you've heard this speech on active listening 1,000 times. So you're coming into my speech thinking, I already know what she's going to say. You turn your brain off and you just think you're not really missing out on anything, but what if I'm saying some new information that you've never heard before about active listening, and then now you're never going to know it? Judgment is when you judge someone based off of small mistakes or appearance and delivery. I have been very guilty of this. I had a professor here that never spelled her words correctly, often misspelled them, and I judged her for it, and I thought she didn't know anything about what she was talking about. For me, she lost a lot of her credibility because she couldn't say what it was that she was trying to say. When in reality, she knew her stuff, she was trying to teach me the stuff that was all correct, and I ended up missing out on a lot of information because I wouldn't listen to her because she would mess up on words sometimes. And that also includes appearance. So if you see someone that you don't like the way they're dressed, you don't like the way their face looks, you're just like, ew, I'm not going to listen to them, that's another thing that can get in the way of your listening. So reacting emotionally is when an emotional trigger can cause you to get upset and distract you from the speech. This could be something that makes you sad or makes you upset. Like if I say something about some big bill that was just passed and I say my opinion on it and your opinion differs from mine, then you're going to be thinking in your head all the reasons why I'm wrong, all the reasons why your opinion is right, and all the reasons why I just upset you with my opinion. So that would be an emotional trigger, and you miss everything I say. What if I'm giving you some good bullet points on why I feel the bill was a good idea? But you're too focused on why you feel the bill is a bad idea that you miss out on everything important that I have to say. So the personal and internal distractions can be hunger, headache, you're preoccupied with something. So I know a lot of times in class I cannot focus if I am hungry or sleepy, or sometimes I just don't want to be there, so I get on my phone and I don't listen to what they're saying. So that's one of the biggest barriers that I think I personally face, because a lot of times I just don't want to go to class, so that when I go to class, I'm not fully engaged in what's going on. How to improve? The first thing is to limit distractions. I know in high school we all had our phones taken up. That was honestly the best thing they could have done for us, because in college I am constantly on my phone, constantly not paying attention, and that distraction that's there in front of me is what's getting in the way of me actually speaking, or me actually listening to what the professor is trying to say to me. So limiting distractions. That could be just like we said before, if you're hungry, get something to eat before you go to class. If you have a headache, take some Advil, just get everything straight before you go into class so you're not distracted. Put your phones away, just like I know I asked y'all to put your phones away so you weren't distracted during my speech. Keep an open mind. If you're going into class and you know you don't like the subject, keep an open mind because you may learn something new that you actually like. Be prepared. If you're going into class, I know I keep using class as an example, but that's what I relate to the most. So be prepared. When you're going into class, read the assignment ahead of time. Read the chapter that you're supposed to read beforehand so you can stay on track. You know what's coming next. You know how to stay prepared. Take notes. Taking notes is the most actively way that I can listen because I'm being forced to write down whatever is being said to me. So some more ways to listen effectively would be nonverbal and verbal communication. So think about how you would like your audience to be if you were actually the one speaking. So I know when I am the one listening, I constantly nod my head because I want them to know, yes, I'm listening to you. I try and stay sitting up straight so I don't look bored and slouched. And verbal, if I ask a question, maybe you answer or you ask me some questions. And at the end of my speech, if you have some other things to add on, paraphrase whatever your speaker is saying so that way they know, okay, this person was really listening to what I have to say. So Ray Birdwistell had made a quote where he said, spoken words are only 30 to 35% of the meeting. So if I were to stand here and be like, I'm so excited to be here, you would know I'm really not excited to be here because of all my nonverbal cues. So verbal and nonverbal is not only important for the audience, but it's important for the speaker. Focus on how your nonverbal body language is coming off to your audience. And then again, if you're the audience, think about what you would want to see take notes